Hey everyone, so by now you might have heard that Gwen Ngwenya, the DA's head of policy, has resigned, and she wrote this 4-page letter, resignation letter, about the reasons for her resignation. And I think, unfortunately, it confirms all our worst fears about the DA. And I'll just read one paragraph to make that point quite clear. So it says, "It is difficult to be clear what I am resigning from, having never received a verbal or written job description, but I do sense loss. There are many good people, including yourself, fighting many fights a day, but ideas are not a battleground the DA likes to tread. I left a job I enjoyed immensely to move from the night watch into what I thought was the front line of the battle of ideas. I was wrong about the nature of the battle I'd be engaged in. That I will take responsibility for, and will be a lesson to me about the consequences of acting in good faith alone." So that is a pretty devastating paragraph from Gwen, and unfortunately, as I said before, it confirms our fears that the DA is actually not interested in ideas at all. They're not interested in new ideas. They're not interested in fresh ideas. They're not interested in developing different ideas to what it appears to be the ANC position, except the ANC has a position and the DA says, well, we'll copy the position, but we will be better at implementing that idea once we, get into power, which they never will. If you listen to our podcast with John Steenhuisen that was released 2 days ago, you would hear our objections to the DA in a much forceful manner than today. But I think this is quite devastating for a number of reasons. Number one, as someone who knows Gwen, and I consider her my friend, I don't know if she'll consider me her friend, so to speak, but we do see each other quite often. She's someone I've known for about 4 or 5 years, before she was at the Institute of Race Relations and before she was in the DA. And over the 4 or 5 years that I've known her, she has not changed her policies one bit. She has been a fairly strong classical liberal, very strong on individual rights, very strong on freedom of speech. And our extended circle of friends are also very strong on those ideas. So I think for her to say that the DA is not interested in ideas there's no other word. It's devastating. I don't know if the DA can salvage itself from this, from people like me who would think that would be a card carrying member of the DA in terms of its muscular liberalism. But we all know that has changed. And I think this is sort of the final nail in the coffin at this stage. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the DA will survive much longer in its current form. Something will have to change. Either the election results are really terrible and they make changes and they get back to what they were good at. Because remember, they got the biggest spurt of growth was under Helen Zille, who is more classically liberal than possibly any other political leader in this country at the moment. So people went into the DA and voted it based on the ideas itself, not just based on the personalities of the leaders. Because Helen is not someone who is. She can be very unlikable if you disagree with her, but she's very headstrong and very smart, and she grew the party immensely. Mostly, I just see a dearth of ideas. I see someone who doesn't know the first things about liberalism, the first things about being different, the first thing about having a sort of backbone and fighting for a position. As Jonathan said on the podcast with John Steenhuisen, he doesn't know where Musi stands on stuff. Nothing at all. And that's a huge problem, and I think that will create quite a bit of reason to doubt their electoral success this year. So yeah, it just plays right in the hand of the ANC. Weak opposition, strong. I mean, the ANC is at its weakest, but they will survive because they have patronage, and they're just laughing. They're just laughing at this point. The DA's, it's been proven now, the DA doesn't care about ideas. They just care about winning, and they know very well they can't win anytime soon. They're going to get 22% or somewhere thereabouts. It's hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. So if you're a liberal, if you care about property rights, freedom of speech, things like that. There are a few good people in the DA who still believe in that, but overall, as a party, as a brand, I don't think it's worth wasting your vote on them at this stage. And I don't know who you could vote for in South Africa today. There's no clear party that stands for people like us. So yeah, there you go. That's my view, and I wish Gwen all the best. She's remaining an MP, and maybe there is something bright in the future ahead for her politically or otherwise. Anyway, chat soon.